What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to the Pathways to Success podcast. On the show today, I have Gus Kalathakis, who is a network marketing professional, weight loss specialist, life transformation coach with an inspirational story of survival. He built a multiple six-figure bank account before the age of 30 as a restaurant owner, social media marketer, professional poker player, and real estate investor, only to watch it all come crashing down after a devastating back injury that left him physically and spiritually hurt, depressed, 50 pounds overweight, and 6 figures in debt. This was all just 7 short years ago. Since then, he's had a complete transformation physically, spiritually, and financially. He's overcome more than 6 figures of debt, created a residual online income, has beat the battle of depression and anxiety, and restored his physical health without the need of back surgery. Gus credits his faith for his complete transformation and today helps free others from physical, mental, and financial pain through his businesses. Gus, welcome to the podcast, man. How are you?
Julian, thank you so much, man. I'm so excited to be here. I'm honored. I really appreciate you, hearing my story out and then opening the door for me to share with others, man. So this is really cool.
Yeah, man. And shout out to all of our landmark friends who are tuning in right now, because honestly, without that whole experience, I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah,
I learned about your story, man. And it's a pretty amazing one to hear. Yeah. So before we kind of unpack that, tell us a little bit about what exactly your business is. Who do you help and how do you do it?
Yeah, so my main businesses are all online now. I'm a former restaurant owner, so I grew up in the hospitality business. I had a gym in the Virgin Islands for a few years, and that happened from my transformation because CrossFit was a big part of what helped me get over my back injury. Yeah, I just got so passionate about helping and serving others and transforming their lives, and it gave me a platform to be able to share my faith and nutrition and put me on a different kind of a stage to go a little bit deeper than just the physical transformation. I wanted to serve on a bigger scale and took my business online. Network marketing was a really great additional income stream, just kind of on the side, which really helped me as a new business owner, because sometimes we know how hard that is when you open up a business, a small business especially. Yeah. And it took off. I was serving people, around the islands, around the state, and then international. And that's what I wanted to do. I just saw something much bigger. So, through my network marketing business, I help people transform physically and financially. I'm launching a coaching program later on in this year on a couple of different levels. And again, this podcast that you invited me to kind of inspired me to start thinking even bigger and even further with a possible book and possible podcast to continue to share the story and of the people that I'm getting to help as well. Yeah. So.
Dude, just everything that I've experienced about you, Gus, there's so much content there. It's an inspirational story. It's real. It's verifiable. You've created these results and you help other people do it. I think it's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
So let's unpack the story, man. This is crazy. So first off, have you always been entrepreneurial? Because these are a lot of different things that you were doing. Social media marketing, playing poker, real estate. Tell us the background.
Yeah. I guess I was kind of always a little bit of a black sheep. I learned from a young age I didn't like being told what to do, even though I was a good listener, I was a good kid. Yeah. I just didn't like the restraints. Don't push the red button. Don't do this. Don't do that. And my first thing was always kind of like, why? Why not? Yeah. Like, what's the reason for this? What's the reason for that? So I was always pretty curious. And I think curiosity plays a big role in how I ultimately got to what I'm passionate about. Because I used to preach that all the time, like, find your passion and just do that. Most people don't even know what that is. So you got to start being curious about the things that you like and understanding what you don't, what doesn't mesh with you. And I learned through the years that I didn't love corporate America. I found that it was very restraining for me. And some people love it and they're home there and they're comfortable. But for somebody like me, when someone was telling me what to do and I knew there might be a little bit of a better way, people felt pretty threatened in that kind of an environment. And I always felt limited. So I started to explore, the restaurant business was cool because, when I was a GM and had a boss over me, it didn't work out. I was trying to create things that I knew would be better. And again, felt like I was held back. So owning my own restaurant, I got to do things my way and built a successful business there. Same thing with the gym. I worked for like a YMCA and different places like that, which I love what they do. But again, corporate America, you got to clock in, you got to clock out. So that that got me really curious in the entrepreneurial space. I did some social media marketing, found out in the early days before the fan pages were real popular, how to help people get fans on their fan pages and views on their YouTube videos and things like that. I got into short sales. I've always loved helping people. I guess that goes way back from a long time ago. I just always had a serving heart. And when people were upside down in their real estate, we found a way to help them out of their situation, get them out of the debt that they owed the bank, and make a little bit of a profit on top of that. So it was kind of always creating a win-win-win scenario for people. So between social media, real estate, I was naturally good at poker, and I think it was because I was just good with people. Yeah. I don't even know all the technicalities, all the percentages, all the numbers, but I could always get a good feel for people, which is a strength. I learned that was a strength of mine, and it helped me play the game really, really well, and found a lot of success there too during that time. Like I said, built a multiple six-figure bank account, doing all these different things, working for myself. But the problem was everything I did was linear. So even though it was entrepreneurial, it was linear. I had to create the deal. I made the deal happen, but then there was no residual. There was no back end. There was no recurring income on the back end. Mm-hmm. So when I'd built this bank account and then I'd gotten hurt, everything kind of just stopped. And over time, that money went down. And I don't know how deep we want to get into the story just yet, but that was my background and how leading up to my injury, I'd built my my multiple six figures. Mm-hmm. Getting into that was about 2011. So that's where everything kind of started for me.
I'm curious, what were your corporate jobs? I just can't see you in corporate America. That's why.
I worked for a mortgage bank.
Yeah.
I started kind of behind the scenes there, and then I wanted to be out in the field, so I started doing mortgage banking. Mm-hmm. So it was an office job, but then I had to get out and get leads, and so that didn't work very well for me. The YMCA was a corporate job for me. I worked for restaurants. Mm-hmm. So that was I worked for some big chains. I worked for some small chains through the years. I worked for a restaurant cleaning company one summer. That was miserable, but I learned really hard work, 100-degree weather, yeah. Long sleeves, gloves, cleaning out the most ridiculous stuff. So I've gotten my hands dirty. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, but those were all pretty good experiences for me through the years.
What was the initial leap going from corporate to business owner? What was the first thing that was working for you?
It was the restaurant, mm-hmm. Taking over the restaurant. My family has a business, and it's really hard. You butt heads when you work with some of the people that are closest to you.
Sure, yeah.
So when I had some free reign to do some things on my own, it allowed me to really open up the creativity in me, and using some of the skills that I had from social media and different stuff like that. My people skills, people came to hang out with us more, even though the food was great, but people came for the environment and the atmosphere. And I think always creating a culture and community everywhere I went, and with what I did, was the biggest difference. Even with real estate, I gave up a big portion of my profits, mm-hmm. to build a team of people that were better than me to handle the different pieces, so that we were able to do more deals rather than for me personally make more profit per deal. Yeah. And again, overall that ended up into bigger long-term profits by helping more people and getting more people involved. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that happened.
So I'm curious, Gus, what were you like at the peak of things before the injury, right? You're a young dude, mm-hmm. You're being successful, you're doing all these things, you've got a ton of money. What were you like?
I was very giving.
Really?
The money.
So that never changed?
No. I never got involved in anything bad. I drank, we went out, it'd be like the party, but it was more of getting other people out. Yeah. I love to spend on experiences. And I was not very good with finances. I was really good at making money, but I wasn't good with finances. So I would just spend kind of recklessly, but doing fun stuff. We'd go on trips, we'd rent limos, I'd buy gifts for everybody, mm-hmm. and it was more like I have it, so I'm gonna spend it, and because I know I'm confident enough, I'm gonna keep making more. Yeah. But that's how it was. I was pretty in shape, but I didn't really care about my health, because this is a big part of the whole story. I was always an athlete. I played college soccer, so for me, getting fit was not a hard thing to do. My back injury started in high school, but it was kind of just an in and out thing. It just it hurt every once in a while. Wasn't so devastating through the years, and then and I just love to have fun. I think I don't know what the personality types are, but mm-hmm. someone called me a yellow before, and I think that's the fun, the party type. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just because I enjoy people. that's kind of my background. That's kind of my MO right there.
Yeah.
So I was always that same person.
So tell us about the event. What happened?
It was crazy. I remember this specific moment when my back went out. I was already in Vegas. I was working on some deals. I had a few real estate deals lined up. I'd taken a little bit of a backseat on the social media marketing and picking up new deals there because I was busy playing poker at the time too. Just hit a big score in a big event. I almost won a World Series of Poker bracelet in my first event ever that I played. So I was really flying on cloud nine. I thought I was going to be a millionaire before I was 30.
Wait, so those are televised, right?
Yeah, it was live streamed actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's somewhere you could actually probably find that back in 2011.
Yeah.
Where that happened. My family was all watching me during my brother-in-law's birthday. Live. They spent their birthday watching me play. It was pretty cool. And we're going leading up to the actual event. I was putting a weight away. I was putting a little dumbbell away. It wasn't even a heavy dumbbell, and my back went out.
You're at the gym?
Yeah, at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shoot, not again, right? Not now, right? And typically my back would go out for like 2-3 days, maybe a week or so, before I was like back on my feet. Mm-hmm. For some reason, whatever reason it was, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I've got 3 herniated discs in my lower back. The whole sciatica bulging, was happening, and for whatever reason, that injury there put me out. Like I couldn't stand up straight, and I remember just getting progressively worse and worse and worse. And what I thought would be a couple of days of just lying on my back turned into a few months of me hardly being able to walk more than a few steps at a time and having trouble getting off the ground. And that's where the whole down spiral started in my life. It was in the summer of 2011. So that was tough. And I'll tell you the truth. Knowing what I know now, having had the same thing happen to me, if it happened to me now, I would have been back on my feet in a couple of weeks with not even a speed bump in any of my finances and my mental health and any of that stuff. Because of my pride, I had a lot of pride, my faith not being so strong. I care a lot about what other people thought. Maybe that's why I always like to take care of people and have fun and be that guy. Mm-hmm. I overspent, and I undertook care of myself. And that, I was spending $1,000 a week living in a hotel, lying on the floor.
Wait, so I was going to ask that. You were not in a hospital?
No. I was just like, I'm going to be okay. And I'm even like to the point of posting on social media, like joking around about my injury, checking into fancy hotels on the Las Vegas Strip to let people think, oh, Gus is okay. I'm still on the up and up. I didn't even tell my family. I was like, oh, guys,
so no one knew?
Nobody knew.
And you were afraid to portray like an image of weakness or vulnerability?
100%. Did not want anybody to know. No, that was not in my identity, to be weak, to be hurt, to be that, especially when I was on the highest high.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, you want to come out there? I'm like, oh, I got some work to do. I'm working on some deals. I wasn't working on anything. I was in pain. I was crying. I was just in so much pain. But, I was ordering entire pies of pizza every night. I was watching reruns. I was lying there just kind of waiting for it to go by. I was not proactive in any way at all. Literally watching thousands of dollars a week go out of my bank account, living in hotels, getting laundry done, room service, movies, and just doing a thing. I was renting a scooter that I wasn't even riding because I couldn't even sit in it for more than a few minutes at a time. And here's the thing. Here's where things kind of turned ugly. When you have a bunch of money, you don't notice a couple $1,000s. Like, it doesn't really ding the bank account that much. But then when 10, 15, 20,000 start to come out, and you're like, okay, this is not getting good. I had 3 real estate deals lined up. Mm-hmm. And when the money I had for one of those deals, it ended up dipping into that, my alarm went off. I was like, oh, shoot. I can't let them down. I have to figure out how to get that money back. But I was in so much pain, like I just wasn't thinking straight. So as a successful poker player, I couldn't even sit at a poker table because that took a lot of patience, a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy. That's deep. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't even physically sit at a poker table long enough. So what did I do? What do you do when you're in Vegas? What other options are there? How else do you make money? Well, I wasn't in any kind of shape to dance, right? So that wasn't ever going to happen. But there's a thing called blackjack out there, and I heard of my friends making some money doing that. I was like, you know what? I played for fun. I'd made a couple $100 here and there before. I was like, I've got a bunch of money still. Let me just make a few big bets and get my money back for that deal, and then, kind of move forward from there. Well, let's flash forward. My first sitting down at the blackjack table, I made like $5,000 in a few minutes, and it was awesome. I'm like, oh, you know what? I could stand a couple minutes at a time and I'll come back and do this again later or tomorrow, and I'll have that money back in no time. Well, that first win was the only win. I literally gambled away over $100,000 in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh, guys.
It was bad. And let me tell you, because I'm so real, so honest, so vulnerable about my story now.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people trust me. I had a lot of really great relationships with people. I took care of a lot of people. So for me, when I would ask for something, people wouldn't hesitate to give their shirt off their back for me. I got manipulative, and not in a way, because I truly thought genuinely in my heart that I was going to make something work and be able to get back to where I was. And I was borrowing money for deals that I was working on, but I wasn't working on deals. I was just trying to get money back. So
gambling
through gambling, I was spending, I was sending money home. My mom was even sick at the same time. I didn't know how sick she actually was.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't doing really well at all. She was actually in a place where the restaurant in her house were they were on the brink of being taken away. So there's a whole nother storm going on in the other part of the country in Florida where my mom was at that same time. I didn't learn that until a little bit later on, and I'd sent whatever I could there too. So that was part of the borrowing of the money. And before I knew it, I was 6 figures in debt to people.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
So from multiple 6 figures in my bank account to 6 figures in debt, and literally just wasted it all away. I did help a little bit, but most of it was just selfishness and pride and like, holy cow, how did I do this to myself? Like, how did this happen? And there's a wheel of life, and it has like different spokes in it. We've got our health, we've got our family, we've got our friends, we've got our finances, we've got our faith. And I had everything full. All the spokes were strong, except for my faith. Like, I always believed in God. I always went to church. Faith was real strong when I needed it, right? When there's a problem. But it wasn't always in the forefront. It was never first in my life. And what happened is, when the health piece of this wheel went off, right? The wheel was a little wobbly, and then it became real wobbly when my health was out. And then by hiding from my family and my friends, those two wheels started to, because I was lying to them and hiding from them instead of reaching out to them. I kind of secluded myself. Depression does that to people. There was a lot of depression and anxiety during that time. I didn't know what to do. And most people, when they're depressed, they hide. They want to be secluded. They want to shut the world out around. And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to hide from everybody. And I remember all the pieces of the wheel just slowly going off, and the only wheel I had left was the money. And this is why people say, oh, the money doesn't matter. It really doesn't. We need it, so we have to make it. It's important. But if it's the only thing, it's not a good thing. And then that started to go. And then when that was out, I didn't know what else to do. I remember lying on the floor in a hotel, and I was between the beds, and I was just lying there. And I looked over, and I could see the balcony, and I wanted to jump. It was the first time I had a thought of jumping and ending it all. And I thought, wow, if I could get off the ground right now, I'd probably go do it. That was the deepest thought. And then I was like, is there a less painful way to do it? So then thoughts of a less painful way doing it crossed my heart. And I don't know what it was. And it was kind of like, God help me. What the heck was that, right? One of those moments. And then I got a text message from my sister, almost out of the blue, right? Because they just thought I was sick. And it was my nephews. They were 1 and 3 at the time. And I told my family, I was like, hey, I'm not feeling good. When I feel better, I'm going to get up and I'm going to come home and everything will be okay. And I was lying about that. But then I saw this message, and it was just get well soon. They're like, we love you. The one was 1 year old. He's like, W. This baby mumble. But whatever it was in that one moment, it was almost kind of like God put his hand on my shoulder and said, everything is going to be okay. I felt peace for the first time through that whole storm, where I was just like, I knew I was going to be okay. There was no depression. There was no anxiety. I was very present and in the moment. And that is so important. That like, it has become a foundation for everything I do and every day that I live in right now. And I don't know what happened, but from that moment on, things started to shift. And it went from like, why God, to why is this happening to me, to the suicidal thoughts, to I don't have this anymore, I don't have that anymore, how am I going to talk to these people, how am I going to face these people, tell them what happened, like to all this like negative focus, to wow, I have people at home that love me, that are waiting for me. I have a family at home, I have a roof over my head, I've got food on the table, I have all my basic living needs, they're still there for me, available to me. All the personal development stuff, like the Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn stuff that I was listening to before, for whatever reason, I shut that all off and I turned reruns on. I was filling my mind with junk, right? Filling my body with junk. So I started to take simple steps. I'm like, what can I do? I'm like, I need to start working out again. Well, you can't work out, but like getting off the floor, I would dehydrate myself so that I wouldn't have to get up and use the bathroom because it hurt so bad to get off the floor. So it was like, I just got to like, you know, everybody hates burpees, right? Mm-hmm. My first workout was a burpee. It was, you know, because a burpee, all it is getting down and getting up off the ground. Mm-hmm. So I would literally work on just figuring out the way to get myself up off the ground so I could get to the restroom more conveniently. So I start drinking water again. I stopped ordering an entire pie of pizza every night and stopped emptying the snack bar of all the junk that was on it. And I started to eat the nuts, and I started to, you know, order like grilled chicken salads and stuff. So I just started to like take little steps that way. And I started to turn Tony Robbins back on. I remember that very significantly. He was a big role in that part. And I always remember he says, what you focus on expands. You can shift anything in 1 second. In 1 second, your whole life can change with a decision, and you just got to choose it. And I'm like, yeah, I choose it. I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, all right, God. And that was the first time God and faith went first in my life. I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew that if it starts there, you know, it believes that because Tony Robbins talks about that too. He goes, your faith, your spirituality, whatever it is. He's like, you got to have that. And I'm like, yeah, I got that. And I'm like, we're going to do this. Now, mind you, nothing has changed other than my mindset and what I started to do, those little shifts. And I remember within a couple of weeks from that moment, I was on my feet and able to get on a plane again. And
how long?
Within a couple of weeks, I was able to at least get on a plane, like move my, you know, by getting up and off the ground and starting to move. I was wobbling and hobbling, but I was able to actually get on a plane and be able to get home. Well, that next day when I made that decision, I woke up and the first thing I did was I called my brother and I told him everything that was happening. I called my mom, told her everything that was happening. I called my friends that I borrowed money from, and I said, guys, don't hate me. I said, and if you do, that's okay. I said, I almost jumped off a balcony, and you never would have seen your money again. I said, but I can promise you one thing. As long as I'm still breathing and God has me here, I will do everything I can to make this up to you and make this right as long as it takes. I said, I will never avoid your phone calls. I will never avoid you. I will be honest and real with whatever it is that's happening in my life. If I can give you a little, I'll give you a little. If I'm doing some stuff to get myself back on my feet, I'll tell you. I said, I will figure this out, I promise. I said, don't lose your faith in me. And if you have, I said, I apologize. Just know that I will make this right. And it was just very freeing and very releasing of a lot of heavy stuff I was carrying on my back, you know. So that was where, and then I remember getting back to Florida. I moved in with my mom because she was struggling with her health. I took over the restaurant, took care of her, my grandmother. And I started working for food and getting the restaurant back on its feet and getting myself back on my feet. And, you know, I didn't pay myself. I was just kind of just praying and getting my life back, you know, getting acquainted with people again. And that's where all the whole, like the entrepreneurial stuff started swirling. I didn't know what I was going to do. The restaurant was my thing, but I knew that there was something more out there for me. There was something bigger. But it started with, again, the mindset shift, my faith, my mindset, and my health, because I could control those things, you know. Stop worrying about what you can't control, right? It is what it is in that space, and just focus on what you can. And that's all I kept doing. I was just like, you know, do what you can, you know, do what you can, in spite of what you can't, keep doing what you can. And that's all I did. So, that's where we're at. And, in 2011, 2012, going into 2013. That's how I found CrossFit. My chiropractor, I was supposed to have surgery. They wanted to do surgery. I did an MRI. They said, yeah, we should operate on this. And I wanted some more opinions. I reached out to some friends. I got all the numbers. My chiropractor said, we got to build your core strength. We gotta work on some stuff. We'll build your core strength. We think we can get you through this. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do that first. So nutrition, I started juicing vegetables. I started, just really taking my hand in that. But it's crazy enough, people hear CrossFit and they get scared. They think they're gonna get hurt. But when you go from the foundation, like I learned how to squat again on a box with a broomstick in my hands. Like that was the beginning of my journey. I was picking up an 8-pound weight off the floor to learn how to deadlift. So people see all this crazy stuff. I just started with the basic stuff, the stuff that would translate into just, life again. And I got so passionate about that, and my body changing and my mind changing that I was taking people with me on my journey for free. And I still take people for free with me. I don't care. I don't charge for everything I do. Probably 95% of the stuff I do is free for people because I love helping. And I remember January 2013. This is now going on almost 2 years later. My friend had called me. He was the original chiropractor who told me that we're going to avoid surgery and you need to find CrossFit. He goes, I got hired as a chiropractor in the Virgin Islands and I have an idea. He's like, I'm either going to put some equipment in my garage and do CrossFit or you're going to come with me and we're going to open a CrossFit gym. And I'm like, now here's me, 6 figures in debt, like $9 in my bank account. I'm like, I'm in. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And by April, I was certified. By June, I was in the Virgin Islands. And mind you, I got certified as a CrossFit trainer as the fat trainer. Like I was an overweight, still in the midst of my transformation, going to open up a CrossFit gym in the Virgin Islands. That's how I got into my network marketing business. I needed some products, so I found some products that just made my life a little bit easier and kind of accelerated the process of my 50-pound weight loss transformation that I had. Built a really great business out there. The CrossFit gym is still there, but that's when the opportunities started to open up. And that's when, I took on network marketing. I created multiple streams of income in the gym itself. I made some really great connections with people in the health and wellness space and created some cool affiliate partnerships. But that's where the whole, journey and my life really started to take off was in 2013, just 6 years ago.
Unbelievable.
And that's where we're at now, man.
And you sold the gym? Or?
So the gym, I sold it 3.5 years in. So it was 2016. I sold the gym. My network marketing, the side business kind of started to take off a little bit. It was still a part-time thing, but it was enough income for a single guy to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna go make some moves. I'm gonna get back stateside and I'm gonna try to make a bigger impact in another way. I don't know. I always pray, right? So it was kind of just that calling, like, all right, Gus, time to sell the gym. And it took me a year to transition out of there. I never even had to take an application. So my members, 2 of my original members actually own the gym now today still. It was a real cool community out there that we built. But yeah, so now the only thing I do is all online. I've got my network marketing business. I got a couple of great affiliate partnerships. And now I'm in a space where with the extra time, I want to start creating more.
Wow. Gus, 6 figures in debt, destitute, like physically depressed and anxiety, all that stuff. What's life like now today for you?
Free. I feel very free. Very purpose driven right now. People ask me all the time, like, you're a single guy, you're in your 30s. My grandma asked me why I haven't found a wife yet. So I always throw that back on God. I'm like, that's God's plan. Why don't you talk to him for me, right? I said, why don't you help me out there, right, Grandma?
Are you open to a relationship?
I always was. I was always going to be a family man growing up. And then there was a period of time where I wasn't. I'm like, you know what? I got a different focus. I got a different purpose right now.
Yeah.
But with my relationship with God being so strong, I always said a quote that I heard a long time ago that didn't really fit with me at the time was a woman's heart should be so filled with Christ that a man needs to seek him first to find her. And over these last couple of years, with my relationship growing in my faith and with with Christ, it's one of those things where the doors become open again. Like it really has become open, because now it's more clear of what I want and what I'm looking for in my life, which it never really was before. It's been just such a chaos. So open is a good word for it. Actively seeking, we'll leave that in God's hands, right? We'll pray about that. Where was I? Oh man, if I get flustered with these questions.
No, it's fine. So you were talking about like you're much more mission and purpose driven right now. So what is your mission and your purpose?
Oh yeah, because as a single guy, I could literally go anywhere in the world. I have a residual income enough that in some places would go a lot even further than the American dollar, and just hang out and just kind of be in paradise. And that feels very selfish to me. I know that's not why I'm here. So the biggest thing for me is every day I pray for God to bring me and show me those people who are praying in quiet desperation. He uses our story, and that's so powerful. He doesn't put us through the storm. He doesn't make that happen, but he uses it, and he sees us through it. And that's what happened. And I have, there's a lot of people that are battling depression right now. There's a lot of people battling anxiety right now. There's a lot of people battling their finances and their health. And I've been through all of that, and I do have solutions. And if I don't have the solution, I can help you shift the mindset to want to go find that solution. And that's what it was. We dig deep in why we do things. So for me, it's gone way beyond me at this point. I'm just the messenger with a solution for people. I want to retire my parents early. I want to just take care of people right now. And I know by serving and helping more people, that's how that's gonna happen. So every day, that's kind of my mission, is to wake up and find those people who are praying in that quiet desperation like I was for a solution.
You're a good dude, Gus. So let's talk about the specific things that actually help you create these transformations that you and I discussed before. The first one is faith.
Yes.
Very controversial, obviously, right?
Yep.
So I guess give us some insight into, let's say, for those who don't believe, or for those who do believe, like how did it actually help you create this transformation?
Faith is exactly that, right? It's just, it goes way beyond our understanding and our comprehension. It's faith, it's trust in something greater. And with all the miracles that have happened in my life, just the fact that we are miracles.
Yeah.
Like there's a 400 trillion in one shot that we're even here right now in this moment talking, like even just alive. Science can't explain that in any way. And I do believe that we're all set here for a purpose. If we're breathing and we're here, there's a purpose for us, and every individual has that. And I've found it through every struggle I've ever been through. Faith has got me through. Even people who don't believe, what do they do when they're in trouble? They pray.
They're right.
Well, who are you praying to? Who are you praying to, and why?
Yeah.
And until we understand that, right? Until we really create that relationship, more things get unlocked. I believe we have gifts that we haven't even scratched the surface on in our lives and potential, because we're not strong enough to find them and seek them out and do them on our own. We need something greater. And I don't know of any successful, giving, good entrepreneur out there, from the Tony Robbins to the Rohns to any of these guys who have kind of paved the way, who don't talk about faith first and spirituality. If people try to be politically correct and say faith, spirituality, the universe, whatever it is, but there's got to be something greater out there for us. And when you align yourself with that, you start to feel that, you start to understand that. And for me, it's God, it's Jesus, and that's what's worked for me. And it's results, it's proof. And everybody that I work with and all the people that I've come around, the happiest people, the less stressed people, I wouldn't have beat depression and anxiety. I didn't use meds. I didn't go to doctors. I used Jesus, literally. That was what filled me up. And being present and understanding and letting it all go is how I got through that. I wanted to jump off a balcony. I was at the extreme of it. I had nothing, literally nothing. And that was a call for me. It was like that. How can you feel so much peace in the middle of a storm? Like, how does somebody explain that? So if somebody's out there and they're in the middle of a storm right now and they're struggling, pray. Because he got you. And I can tell you that right now, you are going to feel a peace over your life that you've never felt before, knowing that everything we go through, we grow through, and that it will be used for something greater. The darker the light, the brighter it is on the other side. The darker it is out there, the brighter the light shines on the other side. And for those of you who are going through the worst of times, know that the best of times are ahead if you choose to believe that and you choose to take the next step. It's really hard to go from level 1 or negative, like I feel like I was, to level 10. But what's that very next step you can take? What's that one thing you can control, that you can do, that you can incorporate into your life every single day? And for me, it was that starting my day, starting my day with prayer and gratitude every single day. And it's like start and end it every single day, because you're starting off on a good note, you're ending on a good note. Even on the worst of days, find the difficult gratitude in that day. And I can only tell you to seek. Yeah. To seek. It's the only way you're going to find.
Amen, brother. I believe that. And we've had a lot of offline discussions about that too. It sounds like once you got that piece, the faith kind of like in congruence, it seemed like what happened next was you started to work on your mind and your body to create the transformation. Mm-hmm. Give us some tips. And like you said, knowing what you know now, you would have been out of there in a much shorter time.
Yep.
What are specific tactics and strategies that people can take to improve their mind and body?
So it's always... those two things always start first as the foundation, because those are the things you can control every single day. What you fill your mind with. Are you watching? Where are you spending your free time? Where are you spending your extra time? What are your surroundings? What are people talking about? Right? They say if you're not inspired by your circle, you don't have a circle. You have a cage. Right? And that was something that really resonated with me. So I started to surround myself with more positive people that were lifting me up, because a lot of people have a lot of negative talk, a lot of negative doubts. So, and even if you're in a place where, like if you have a job where people are very, very negative, well, what are you doing in your free time? Because for me, Tony Robbins and all those podcasts and different things like that, of positivity, a podcast like this where there's positive people on it to plug into on a day-to-day basis and keep your mind going, because it's like this clear bottle of water that I'm holding in my hands. Every single day, whether we control it or not, there's going to be people throwing dirt into that with their words, their thoughts, their different things that are coming out there. You could be walking by a newsstand and reading the headlines. You could be walking by a TV and there's negative news going on. It's spilling your cup, and the only way to keep that clear is to keep pouring clear water into it and watch that dirt fill out. So if you can pour more clear in than dirt comes in, you're going to be in a good place, and your mindset's going to be there. So controlling what you focus on, you can choose to focus on the adversity or choose to focus on the solution. It's like, what can I do in spite of this? Our feelings are feelings, right? But our feelings are only moments. We only actually feel the feeling for about 90 seconds. If you're feeling it for longer than that, it's because you're telling yourself that story and repeating it over and over again and focusing on that. And that's why that feeling stays with us. So it's like, okay, cool, accept it, cry, shout, scream, whatever you got to do, let it out, and then say, what can I do about it? What can I do next? Who can I talk to? What can I read? Who's around me? So the mindset is so powerful. And when we're unhealthy, okay, so the mind and body go hand in hand for me. Everything is amplified when we're not living in a healthy body. So your depression is worse. Your anxiety is worse. When something goes wrong, you feel worse faster because you already feel bad. You don't even feel good. People don't know what their best actually even feels like. So when you start to move, because motion equals emotion, everything starts to change. Everything starts to shift. Like you have this energy, you have this light. You can focus better. You think better. So it does go hand in hand, because when I have a tough day, but I feel really great, it's easier for me to overcome it. It's easier for me to move past it. Because of how healthy I am right now, and it's such a significant difference. But you got to start somewhere. People are like, I'm too tired to go to the gym. I'm too tired to go for a walk. Well, you got to start going to the gym to have the energy to go to the gym. And again, nobody's forcing double cheeseburger down your throat every single day and French fries. That's what I said to myself. I said, nobody's forcing this pizza pie down my throat every single night. That's a choice. So it's how important is that to you? How much do you value how you feel, right? Who is that affecting? Like, how is that affecting your life? What does your life look like if you don't make that change? Okay, so you got to ask yourself these questions. And why is that important? If you set a goal to say, I just want to get healthy, that's not strong enough to get you through the days that you don't feel like doing it. Like, why do you need to get healthy? Why do you need to lose 20 pounds? Why do you need more energy, right? Going back to somebody that I was working with, it's like she wanted to look better and feel more confident around people. It's like, well, why do you care what other people think? She's like, well, my husband. I'm like, why do you care what he thinks? She's like, well, because I want him to look at me the same way he did before the babies, because I don't feel that anymore. And I'm afraid that if he doesn't, then he's going to start looking elsewhere. And if he looks elsewhere, I don't want to be a single mom anymore. And it's like, whoa, this lady who just wanted to get healthy all of a sudden found a real reason to get healthy again, on a much deeper level. Ask yourself why. that's important to you. And then when you come up with that answer, ask yourself why again. And then ask yourself why again. There's a point where you realize you might have been lying to yourself. Because if you tell yourself a lie long enough, you start to believe it. So just remember, nobody's listening, nobody's watching. This is for between you and yourself, right? Be honest with yourself, being totally accepting of where you're at, how you got there, and then just start taking what's the very next step you can take. Because when you have a why that's strong enough, the how, the solution is going to come. It doesn't matter what that is. I tried a million different things before I found the one that worked for me, but I knew I was going to find something. I wasn't going to let anything just stop me. Because if nothing ever works for you and you have that attitude, there's only one common denominator in everything that hasn't worked for you, and it's you. And when I realized that, you have to start controlling how you think about that, and then getting to the result. When you have that up, be flexible with your approach and just focus on that why. Because again, it's doing the things that we need to do on the days we don't feel like doing them. The daily mundane, the simple tasks, the drinking enough water every day, that 80% good meals. You don't have to be perfect. Give yourself some grace, because it's a lifestyle. It's not a quick fix for anything. Our mindset, our health, and even our finances.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and let's close with that one tip as far as like the finance piece goes. So how is the Gus of today different than the Gus before the back injury in terms of managing your finances?
Yeah. So for me, it's an interesting and unique situation, because I was in 6 figures of under the table debt. So I had to work really, really hard to get myself out of that. So having an additional, income stream was really, really important for me, because you got to have an income stream that keeps the food on the table and the roof over your head. So for anybody who's out there working, corporate America, or a 9-to-5 or 3 jobs to pay your bills, that's awesome. Like, you got to do that. But if there's something you're passionate about, we have 3 8s in a day. We have 8 hours where we sleep. Not everybody sleeps 8 hours. I get that. 8 hours where we work to put food on our table. And then there's free 8 hours. Everybody has an extra 8 hours in a day if you slept 8 hours. What are you doing in those 8 hours? There's prayer time. Cool. There's workout time. There's family time. Each day, those 8 hours are different, but there's always 8 hours in each day. So for me, it was like, okay, I only have like 10 minutes here, 1 hour here, 3 hours there on these different days. The work I was doing was covering what I needed, but it wasn't getting me out of debt. It wasn't providing anything extra. So in those pockets of the day, I had to find something to create an additional income stream. So I literally built my network marketing business in between 5 minutes and 3 hours on random days, maybe 20 minutes in a whole week to like maybe 10 hours in a week. And it was very consistent and very focused. And it took a little bit of time, but it was a way I could leverage my time. So that's how that piece was really important for me, creating that extra income stream. Everybody's a little bit different. If you have a corporate America job, there's no guarantee you're going to have that corporate America job tomorrow. Have you put enough money aside? Are you saving that 10%? Are you tithing that 10%? I always believe in giving, and living below the means of that 80%, right? So that you can have that that reserve for those months that you're not able to work, or if something, God forbid, happens to you. And what can you do? Because there's a lot of different ways to create an additional income stream these days. Are you digging the well and setting yourself up for long-term success alongside of what you're currently doing? And if you're passionate enough about it, right? And if it's something, again, I say be curious. What do you enjoy? What do you like to do? Find a product, a service, an affiliate, a job where you can start working on that in the pockets of your day, right? Even as a busy mom, I've seen moms that have 3 jobs that are figuring out ways to do this, right? Even if it's 20 minutes a day of you working on something, the internet is a beautiful thing, right? You guys are listening to this in multiple ways probably right now. So if you're listening, you have all the tools you need to be able to do that and create that. So for me, it wasn't as much as saving as it was getting even, but that's what that additional income stream did. And knowing your budget, if you're broke like I was, well, then you don't know where your money's going. I can tell you that right now, because if you're broke, you've figured out a way and managed to survive with no money and no job somehow, some way. And you've also managed to stay broke when you've made bunches and bunches of more money, or when influxes of random money came in some way, shape, or form, whether it was a tax return, whether it was gifts, whether it was some lottery ticket, but somehow you keep finding yourself broke. Well, you don't know where your money's going, so you need to really track that. You got the same way you track your health, you track your finances. We vote with our dollars. and this was one of the biggest tips, one of the biggest things that I ever learned. And I work with people on their health and their finances this way. I said, wherever you are today, you chose that. You absolutely chose where you are with your health. You chose where you are with your finances. And if you're not sure where that is, print up your bank statement for the last 30, 60, 90 days. Print up your bank statement for 2018 and look at where you value your time.
Yeah.
Because you can tell me you value your family. You can tell me you value your health. You can tell me you value this, and these are the most important things to you. Show me your bank statement, and I will tell you what you actually value. Because people don't even realize the little bit of money that's going out here, the little bit of money they spend there, when they could be reinvesting that in their health. They could be reinvesting that better in their businesses and whatever else it is that they do. So I have people that I work with write a little note on either their big bills or put a little sticky something on their debit and credit card and say, what am I voting for with this today? What am I voting for with this today? So every time you spend it, when you got that, junk food and you're getting ready to use that card, you're like, what am I voting for? I'm voting for this health. And you need to be okay with that. If that's okay with you, cool, do it. If you're going to this big event and spending this extra money when you could be reinvesting it into something else, if you're okay with that, cool. Just know that that's your choice. So if you don't know where it's going, start taking a little evaluation on it and see what you actually value and what you're voting for, and then make the adjustments, from there. Because believe it or not, most people, with whatever income they have coming in, is more than enough. If you're spending that money on that brand new car and those brand new things and you're broke every single month, well, you value what other people think about you in that new car than you do for the things that are making you unhappy in your life right now. So really, 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 that might be a gut check for some people. It was for me. But I hope it opens people's minds up to start thinking about that. So I hope that helps.
It does. Dude, Gus, I was a fan of yours before this, but I'm even a bigger fan of you now, and I mean that sincerely. So let's close out, Gus. Tell us about the coaching program, how people can connect with you, follow you, work with you. Tell us all that.
Yeah, really, really, really simple right now. I'm very, very straight up. I make time. I'm the guy that personal response to everybody because it is I'm in a relationship building business. So the easiest way to connect with me is through social media. On Instagram at @GotGus, that's GOTGUS on Instagram. Send me a DM, and I will let me know you heard me on this, and I'll respond regardless. Or on Facebook, my name is Gus Kalathakis. You'll probably see it somewhere in the post for this podcast, but an easier way is facebook.com/GotGus, GOTGUS. You could find me there. Again, send me a personal message. And I will definitely see it. I've got a couple of different programs that I do, whether it's you're looking for an additional income stream, whether you're looking for a health solution, I can help. I put a guarantee on everything, and I'm creating both a high-level coaching program for those who want that more intimate time that's going to be launching later this year, that one-on-one, and I'm also creating a community where it's going to be a paid community, a coaching community, but it's going to be less than $1 a day for people to take part in, to get the weekly stuff, to keeping their mindset full and surrounding themselves with positive people that are on that same kind of track. I love connecting people with people. So there's a couple of things that are going to be launching later this year. And if you follow my stories on Instagram and Facebook and my posts, you'll be able to keep up to speed with all that.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to have all of your information in the show notes as well. So Gus, dude, I'm so glad to know you, man.
I'm grateful for you, man, really. Yeah. The opportunity to share this and get to know somebody like you who's doing this, because this is what it's about right here, what you have going on here, allowing people to share their stories, because that gives people permission to be okay with what they're going through and to be inspired by people who have done it. So the more guests you have, the more stories that people hear, the more inspired they're going to be to start making that shift and that change. So what you're doing is very, very, very powerful, and I'm glad you've taken some really big leaps in your life to stand out and be a presence and to stand for the people that are out there praying for a solution, because people really need stuff like this. So I really appreciate you, man, and your time.
Yeah. Well, Gus, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, man. I know we're going to be friends after this, man. And if there's anything I can do to serve you, you let me know, man. So everyone else, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Pathways to Success. As always, make sure to subscribe, comment, and share. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Pathways to Success.